Okay, today we're going to talk about standard form. Okay, so the standard form of a line is going to be ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c can be any numbers. We typically have them be integers, so the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And a cannot be negative. Okay, so b could be positive or negative, c could be positive or negative, a is going to be positive numbers. And then this is your form called standard form. Okay, but we want to know how to graph with it. And there's a couple interesting things. So let's get an example here. 2x plus 3y equals, we'll pick 6 so I have nice numbers. Okay, and I want to graph this on our coordinate grid over here. And I'm going to count by 5s, or count by 1s. I put 5 on here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 positives here, negatives down and to the left. And of course, y-axis is up and down. X is a cross. Okay, so there's two important things that I need to find. And the two important things I need to find is the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, with these two pieces, I can then graph it. So let's look at the x-intercept first. And the x-intercept, no matter where it is, the coordinates for it is going to be whatever that x happens to be, but the y is always 0. Like this point is 5, 0. This point is negative 5, 0. This point is 0, 0, 3, 0, etc. So it doesn't matter where this x-intercept is, y is 0. So what we're going to do is this y right here, we're actually going to make it 0. Okay? This is just for starters, but we're actually going to make this y into a 0. So this means 3 times 0. Well, anytime you multiply by 0, you get 0. So this whole thing is going to go away because it is just 0. So all we're left with is 2x equals to 6 because the plus 3y, which is now 3 times 0, which is 0, has gone away. So we need to solve this for x. So the way you undo this is a multiply problem. This means 2 times x is we're going to undo multiply with division. So we're going to divide by whatever this number out here is, and we're going to divide it by 2. And if I do it on one side, I must do it to both sides. Now, I've seen some of you put x's down here. That's a very bad habit. X's never go in the denominator unless you mean to put it over here. So please leave x up in the top, and it stays right there. X's do not belong in the bottom. Okay, 2 divided by 2 is the number 1. So this is gone. That was the whole point. And we're left with simply x. And over here we got a divide problem. So this is going to be reducing fractions. But 6 divided by 2 is also the number 3. So if you reduced it, you would have had 3 over 1, which of course is 3. So we found out that x is 3. So that means our x-intercept we got to go find is 3, which is right there. So there's our first point. X is 3. Now we're going to go back and we're going to do it one more time. Let me rewrite our equation. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the y-intercept. So on the y-intercept, we're looking for where x is 0, because it does not matter where on the y is. X is always 0. This is 0, 5. This is 0, 0, 0, negative 5. No matter where on this y-axis we are, x is always 0. So just like we did before, we're actually going to make x 0. So we end up with 2 times 0. Which 2 times 0, of course, is just 0. So this all goes away, and now I just have 3y equals 6. Just like before, we need to undo this multiply problem. We're going to do that by dividing. And then if I do it on one side, I do it to the other. Just like before, the variable stays in the top. That's the letter. So we're just dividing by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm left with y. And over here, I have 6 divided by 3. I could reduce that fraction. But 6 divided by 3 is just simply the number 2. So on the y-axis, we're going to go find 2, and we're going to put a dot. And now I have 2 points, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to just connect our 2 points with a nice straight line. And now we have graphed our line, which is 2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, so the trick is when you have it in standard form is you're going to just set one of these equal to 0 and then solve for the other one. And it should be a simple divide problem. So you just divide by whatever number is left and then reduce it and put it on here. And it may end up being a fraction. It may end up being decimals. Most of them I think are going to be integers just to make your life easier. But in the real world, there's no reason it has to be. They easily could be decimals or fractions. All right, let's do one more. So I'm going to delete this part over here, and let's make it a little bit more challenging. Let's go with 4x minus 6y equals to 12. Okay, so just like before, we're going to find our intercepts. Our first intercept, and it doesn't really matter which you pick. Let's make y equal to 0. So when we make y equal to 0, this whole thing goes away. So it's all 0. So I'm only left with this 4x. So I get 4x is equal to 12. By getting rid of the 4, we divide both sides by 4. And x ends up being 12 divided by 4 is the number 3. So our first point is x equals 3, which conveniently I already have graphed. So we get to reuse it again. Okay, and we're going to do this one more time. 4x minus 6y equals to 12. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to make x 0. So that means this thing goes to 0. Now be very careful here because this minus symbol is now part of the 6y. So what we're left with is negative 6y equals to 12. Okay, do not lose that minus symbol. When we did our first example with the plus, it didn't matter because if you don't write it, it always is a plus. But if you have a minus symbol here, it stays with whatever follows it. So this is negative 6y. We need to divide both sides by whatever's out front. In this case, it is that negative 6y. Or negative 6, excuse me. Negative 6 divided by 6, any number divided by itself is 1, so that goes away. And now I have 12 divided by 6, which is 2. And I have one negative, so our answer will stay with a negative. So this is why we practiced that earlier. So 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. So I need to find on the y negative 2, which is down here. And let's go with yellow this time. We're going to connect the dots with a nice straight line. And yellow, this is the line 4x minus 6y is equal to 12. Okay. So we've now graphed two lines. The first one was 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. And we got 4x minus 6y equals to 12. So we always follow the same rules. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask.